My presentation follows very well to what Dr. Farzaneh presented, and I actually have a policy recommendation for elimination of poverty. I was a bit late coming for this session because I had an interview with a news paper here, and I was telling her my topic is about child marriage, and she said, "No, that's too sensitive. I don't think that I'm going to write about it." And I said, "Okay, you can write whatever." Anyway, and when I got the invitation to speak here, I was working on a policy brief about child marriage in the Arab region. And when I saw my assigned paper, which was MPG 1, poverty, gender equality, and the role of family, and I thought that is about child marriage. And we all know that family, as the last table, the last slide that Dr. Farzaneh showed, that how much some of the social security safety net for families about unemployed or being sick, disabled. I mean, not all of them are there, but it's generally falls within family to take care. And in fact, there has been growth a lot and improvement as shown on education, health, and a standard of living, but I need to find where is up and down. Okay. But still, many people live in poverty, and I think I can quickly pass this slide because child marriage, and we see that South Sudan, Yemen, Somalia is not here, is the same trend of that we see as percent of people living in poverty in the region matches the percent of girls who marry under age 18. And the highest rate is in South Sudan, Somalia. About half of the girls are married before age 18. And in Yemen and Sudan, about a third of girls marry before age 18. And of course, at the other end of the spectrum, Libya, Algeria, and Tunisia are there. And how many of you recognize this face? Yeah. Child marriage is defined as a marriage in which the bride or groom is under age 18, but we know that it primarily involves girls. And it's the plight of those who are married at such a young age is usually hidden from the public view, and exactly like this media reporter that was saying that she didn't want to write about child marriage, but occasionally they do, as that was the case of Najud Ali, who at 10 years old, she walked to the courthouse alone and asked for divorce. Her father had 2 wives and 16 children, unemployed. And the reason that he gave for marrying off her daughter was because he didn't want to have Najud have the same fate as his sister, who was kidnapped by a rival tribe and as a child. And then subsequently, their father allowed the kidnapper to marry his daughter to save the family honor. Saving family honor, which is linked to preserving girls' virginity and eliminating the possibility or even suspicion of premarital affairs, is a main reason that families marry off their daughters at a young age. Financial incentives also play a role. for families. Poor and traditional families who value boys over girls have one less mouth to feed, and they often receive gifts and money from the grooms and his family in exchange for the bride. Child brides are usually poor, but not always. Well-to-do families may also marry off their daughters early to seal family ties that help forge a strategic alliance with other clans. Families who marry off their daughters at such a young age may believe that it is in the girl's best interest, not realizing that they are violating their daughters' human rights. Several international agreements condemn child marriage, beginning with the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights. In particular, the 1989 Convention on the Right of the Child, which is a legally binding international agreement on the rights and welfare of children and covers the full spectrum of human rights. It identifies children as those under age 18 and stresses that all children have the same rights and all rights are interconnected and equal in importance. To put girls' rights at the center of development efforts, the International Day of the Girl Child was inaugurated on October 11 last year with the theme of ending child marriage. Ending child marriage contributes to the efforts aimed at achieving the Millennium Development Goals, a set of 8 interrelated goals that addresses poverty at its core. I'm going to go over quickly each of the MDGs and how they relate to child marriage. Child marriage can be seen both as a cause and a consequence of poverty and low status of girls and women. It passes the cycle of poverty, poor health, and low education from one generation to the next. Girls from poor families are more likely than girls from wealthier families to become child bride. In the case of Egypt, girls belonging to the poorest 1/5 of their populations are 6 times more likely to wed before age 18 than those belonging to the richest 1/5. Education is a powerful way to prevent child marriage. Parents who are more educated are less willing to marry off their daughters at a younger age. Girls who finish primary school have the chance to continue their education into secondary and higher level. Supporting girls to stay in school and delay marriage and childbearing translates into greater opportunities for them and their children, allowing them to develop new skills and generate income. Secondary education is the key. As this figure shows, the data for Yemen, Syria, and Morocco, girls who have completed secondary education are far less likely to be married than their less educated peers. As a child. Ending child marriage must be an integral part of efforts to promote gender equality and empower women and vice versa. Promoting gender equality and empowering women should be an integral part of effort to end child marriage. Ending child marriage helps improve gender equality in the region where women routinely experience discrimination and violence. Marriage is often a main reason why girls drop out of school, ending their opportunities for better paying jobs and decision-making position outside the home. The 2 indicators for monitoring progress toward achieving MDG 3 are the share of women in wage employment in the non-agricultural sector and the proportion of seats held by women in national parliament, which child brides have little chance, much less chance of any other group of women to achieve, to be part of it. Child brides have little opportunity to develop awareness about their rights and are in no position to demand them. Child marriage has serious consequences for the health of mothers and their newborns. Children born to adolescent girls, I went too quickly. Yeah. Okay. Actually, part of the power dynamic in the family is that these child brides, usually they have much older husband, and which adds to their isolation and the power dynamics in the family. Okay, now I'm on the right slide. And children born to adolescent girls are more likely to have low birth weight and at higher risk of dying before their first birthday. Pregnant adolescents, especially the younger one, are at higher risk of maternal death and injuries than women in their 20s. Child brides are especially vulnerable to sexually transmitted diseases, including HIV, for both biological and social reasons. Ending child marriage would help slow population growth and give Arab countries time to put in place the infrastructure needed to deal with their growing population and environmental degradation. The region can develop partnership among countries and regional institutions to help resource-poor Arab countries conduct research, disseminate the findings, and establish programs to end child marriage.
5 minutes.
Okay, broad approaches are needed. The forces underlying child marriage are complex and interrelated, and ending this practice requires collective efforts from all fronts: social, economic, judicial, religious, and political. And one of the first things that countries need to make sure that every girl has a birth certificate. And this is a recent study done by WHO, published in 2013, this year, that many countries in the region, they don't have, they have weak or dysfunctional vital registration system. And only Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, and UAE have satisfactory vital registration system. Provide girls with a school, and reforming family laws, define age 18 as the legal minimum age of marriage, and enforce the law. And but having these laws on paper is not enough. It needs to be hand in hand with raising awareness about hazards of early marriage and childbearing, and children's rights to education and protection against exploitation. But this is the tough one, to change attitudes towards girls' rights. This slide show Iraqi men's perception of their rights. And a third of Iraqi men believe that a father has the right to force daughter to marry before age 18. And 1 in 6, 16%, they believe that a father has the right to force daughter to marry against her will. And this is not, this is region-wide and not unique to Iraq or men for that matter. A recent survey of young people in Egypt, it shows that 3/4 of Egyptian women, young women in Egypt, believe that a woman should obtain her husband's permission for everything. And half of the girls believe that a girl must obey her brother even if he is younger. One way of raising awareness among young people is to improve a school curriculum and promote individual rights and responsibility, encourage parents to keep their daughters in school, and for families give financial incentive if they need for the cost of sending their daughters to school, and involve community leaders, particularly the religious leaders. And the media can play an important role of raising the issue from different perspectives, from the violation of girls' rights, from the harms, physical and mental harms to girls, and the negative consequences for families and societies. And there has to be political support behind it, and programs need to be established, coordinated, and regional and international cooperation, and research and dissemination. And I put a lot of emphasis on the dissemination because in this region there is so much money are poured into research, and little is, capacities are limited to make use of the result of those research to inform policies. But while the end goal is to end child marriage, in the meantime, we should not forget about girls, young girls who are married, ensure that they can continue education, improving their access to reproductive health services, and empowering them with training programs to improve life skills, and they would be able to work if they need to, and providing services to victims of violence, of domestic violence. And in conclusion, ending child marriage, reduce poverty, improve gender equality, save lives of young mothers and their newborns, and improve family health and well-being.